I hope this is interesting enough. I mean, I've failed at numerous relationships, mate, but let's not even go into that.
Alright, that's fair enough. We will skip that question. So could you tell us...
Let's just have a conversation.
It's got well cheesy.
Let's just I mean, you'll be able to edit this out, won't you?
Oh yeah, of course.
So it's fine. It's not like we've got to get it right. Like,
no.
You looked at the camera.
Yeah. Nothing like that. Are you happy with this?
Yeah, I like it.
Okay. I've got proper dry mouth at the moment.
Candy.
Yeah. Hi guys. So today we're joined by Yiannis Fleming, aka Mr.Sport, or is it Mr.Sport, aka Yiannis Fleming? We'll soon find out. So thanks for joining me today. We're going to ask some questions about his motivations and also how he became Mr.Sport to find out some more about him. So, you ready to go?
Let's go.
Okay. So, tell us about your background growing up, so where you come from and how this all started, I suppose.
So, I'm born and raised in Thanet, which is in the UK, southeast. My mum's Greek Cypriot, so I'm half English, half Greek Cypriot. I had a pretty normal upbringing, to be honest. I went to standard schools, got my GCSEs, went on to college, and then I decided that I wanted to take a career in sport. So I went and studied health and exercise science at university. Stayed on for another year, doing a master's, and then I found a passion for nutrition, and that led me to do a postgraduate qualification at Stanford.
So you've obviously been quite a sporty person from your youth. You used to play tennis before?
Tennis, football, rugby, all of yeah.
So tell us about your tennis, because you were quite successful with that, weren't you?
Yeah, I mean, I played to a good standard. One of the best in my area. Not the best, one of the best in my area. I've won titles, fair few titles. I was representing my university for 4 years and was the captain for 2 of them, of the tennis team. So yeah, tennis was a passion of mine, yeah.
And was this Mr.Sport idea, did it develop back then, or was it something that sort of came about a bit later on after your studies? Did you have in the back of your mind when you were playing tennis when you were a bit younger, do you know what, I want to get into this when I'm older? Or?
Yeah, I mean, I did certainly when I left school. I thought, you know, I want to take a route down tennis. If I wasn't going to become a pro tennis player, I would have liked to have coached tennis. But
so coaching in some sort of format
exactly
was the plan.
Exactly, yeah. And then one day, just nutrition just seemed to click. The whole science and the whole understanding of it in my brain just clicked, and it was just something I really enjoyed, and it was something I happen to be good at, you know. So
what you do at the moment, you're an online sports coach, nutritionist.
Nutrition coach, yeah, online.
So and you work with athletes and also the general public.
Yeah. So I have my online platform, which I work with everyday people. So people wanting to lose weight, build muscle, improve their health through nutrition. And then I also work on a one-to-one basis with athletes, primarily MMA fighters that need to make weight. So they would have to cut weight for a fight.
So tell us some of your successes with some of the athletes you work with. So I believe you've got a record with MMA fighters about their weights?
Yeah, so I'm not sure on the exact number, but I think we have around about 130 fighters now in the last 2 years that I've helped make weight, and every single one of them has made weight, so we've got 100% weight cut record, and that's ones that I've personally coached, let alone, you know, the various other fighters that we've had use the online platform as a way to make weight.
So looking at the industry at the moment, is there anyone in particular that really inspires you?
Not in my industry, no.
No.
Not in my. I mean, I'm a big fan of. I'm a big fan of Artem Ozya. I'm a big fan of Elon Musk. I'm a big fan of Steve Jobs.
Okay.
You know, very innovative, educational people.
People think differently.
People think differently. People who want to change things, and unfortunately, in my industry, things have been done the same way for perhaps too long.
A bit stale
and misled. You speak to some people about nutrition, their knowledge tends to be skewed, and that's because of the information that's been pushed out.
So you can't really blame them per se. You got to blame the creators of that content. Yeah. Exactly. And they've got their own agenda to fill. I suppose that's kind of why they're pushing that content. They might want to sell certain products that might not be good for you, but it's going to line their pockets, so it's good for them.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, the food and the nutrition industry are very intertwined, so everything is about putting money in, you know, in someone's pocket. I understand money is the, you know, cash is the
driver
of business, but there's a way you can do that with honesty, you know, without having to spread myths
Yeah, sure.
and pseudoscience.
Yeah. Do you have one standout example of myths, or do you don't want to say? I think if they want to know, they can follow your Instagram, because you talk about that quite a lot on there. So we won't mention any names. We don't have any defamation cases against us. So
lawsuits.
Yeah. So looking back on your path to become Mr. Sport, did you have a moment where you thought, do you know what, this is going to happen now? This is working. You gained some traction. You start to get clients sign up. Did that moment happen, or was it a gradual thing? It wasn't just a one-day thing, or?
It was a gradual thing, but it's very interesting you say that. It's a very good question.
Thank you.
It was really weird, to be honest, because it sort of happened the opposite way around. I started off this young guy out of university, very inspired, motivated, passionate about what I was doing, and things, you know, I think after a while things started to get to me, and I eventually sort of started to lose my mojo a bit. And then suddenly, you know, I was holding on and continuing on this path, and then the results just came. Things started to come together, and that sort of boosted my confidence again. But certainly it came at a time when I was actually not really expecting it, per se. I visualised it, I saw it, but my passion and my confidence was taking a hit after a while.
Sure.
But I stayed true to myself, I hung in there, and things started to work out.
Perseverance.
Yeah.
This must have been a massive learning curve for you, because you don't have a business background.
Exactly.
But you're running a business as well as obviously giving your nutrition and coaching advice. So you've been learning in all areas.
Yeah.
Is there any sort of sources of business information that helped you a lot more, or did you pull a network of people around you to get more advice, or how did you overcome the business challenges that you faced?
I think what I did was, I think the most important thing is to really understand your sort of area of expertise, your niche.
Strength and limitations.
Yeah, and also I had the right people around me, the right people that happened to study business, like yourself, the right people that could offer the advice. And I think the thing for me is, I know, you know, I don't necessarily come from a business background, but I think you've got to not be afraid to ask questions.
Definitely.
And I think that's something that I've never really been afraid of. So I've always tried to learn and try to ask questions, and that led me to gain the knowledge that I needed to learn in order to make this thing flow.
Yeah. When you're starting out, you have to push that ego aside
100%.
And just ask anyone any question.
Yeah.
Because the information you get from them could open up so many more opportunities for you.
Yeah.
Definitely. So so you've started your business, you started Mr. Sport, you've launched everything. Do you remember the first sign up you got?
Yeah.
How did that
Vaguely.
feel? How did that feel when you got someone who's actually willing to pay you for the advice?
For a service, yeah.
How did that feel?
Yeah, it felt amazing. It felt amazing. It felt like things were finally coming together, and it felt like I was finally trusted with providing someone with a service.
Because it becomes more real, I suppose, doesn't it?
Yeah. I mean, there was that little bit of pressure, you know, get when someone puts money in your account, you think, oh blimey, I've got to provide something of quality now. But I've always trusted my approach and always trusted my resources and what it is I'm providing on this platform.
But the results you're getting speak for themselves. So you've got a lot of successes.
Yeah.
People have lost a lot of weight. So you've got a busy life. You're running a business. You're doing your online coaching. You're trying to balance all that with a social life of some sort and some downtime. But how do you stay motivated, taking all of that into consideration?
I mean, I think it comes down to two main things. So I obviously have the right people around me. So my friends, my family, my mother, and I've always been very driven. I've been a very driven person, you know. I like to think I'm ambitious sometimes. so that certainly keeps me going. But also as well, I read somewhere that, you know, you'd rather find purpose than a career or a job. And I think that's really true. In the day, you know, I figured out what my purpose was. I didn't need to rely on motivation ever again. I just knew that this is what I want to do for the rest of my life.
So does it feel like work?
Someday, you know what it's like in business. Some things are tedious and some things you don't want to do.
Yeah.
You know, there's certain things that I wake up and I think, oh, I've got to do that today. I don't want to do that, but you just have to get it done.
But the passion's still there.
The passion is still there, but I think when it comes to coaching people and providing that area of service, I'm 100% passionate about that. Yeah, for sure.
So this question always sort of stumps some people. What advice would you give yourself, knowing what you know now and having the experience you have now, when you were first starting out?
I would have, I would have said to myself, keep believing, truly keep believing, because everything in society, most things in society are extremely biased and influenced. You know, when you grow up, you're told you can't do this, you can't do that. And you know, there are some things you can't do. You know, I'm 5'10". I'm not going to be an NBA basketball player. I'm not saying, you know, you'd be deluded.
Yeah.
But you know, you have to be rooted in reality. However, I would have said, honestly, pay no attention to what people have said, because whilst I haven't in some ways, and I've managed to hopefully shut a lot of people up, there were years of stress through that transition. There were years of half believing them, you know, half listening to them. And if I'd have looked back and I realised where I am now and hopefully where things will go, I would have said to myself, don't listen at all. But then again, maybe that anxiety was keeping me going. You know, maybe those thoughts were in the back of my mind driving me.
Let's just
top up the caffeine.
Okay.
It's a banging coffee, by the way, bro.
Thanks, good job. Well done to me. So talk us through a typical day in the day of Mr. Sport, Yiannis Fleming. What's he do? What time does he wake up?
So I try to wake up between 7 and 7:30 every day. I like to fast.
Yeah?
Yeah, so I don't know why, but you know, I find that actually if I don't eat, I have more energy in the morning.
Yeah, do you know what? I've noticed that with myself actually, yeah.
So I mean, obviously I'll have a coffee, or you know, I'll have, if I'm particularly hungry, I'll have some fruit, but I tend not to try and make myself feel lethargic with a massive meal in the morning. So I wake up 7:30, I'll make myself a coffee, tend to do it about half an hour of either meditation or writing down what it is I want to do for the day. I'll then go reply to all my emails, go on social media, reply to all the messages, and then I'll make those plans. So I'll go into the online platform, make people's plans, get them sent out to them, liaise with clients. And that's up until about midday. If I have fighters that I have to meet, that I have to, you know, one-to-one physically converse with and talk to them about the nutrition, then I'll go and do that. If not, I'll usually handle business tasks throughout the day. So things like, we have a supplement coming out at the moment, so I'm in the process of sort of creating that. So yeah, this supplement's going to help fighters with their refuel. I've also got a meal prep company called Macro Feeds in Medway, check it out, who has literally just opened. So I'm heading up there every you know, twice a week at the moment. Just make sure the meals are fresh, make sure everything's looking good, helping with sort of the branding and whatnot, which I tend to manage myself. Day in the life of a businessman is a very random one, you know. It's not routine, but I do always set time for my clients and for social media, you know, and whatnot, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, because you're very active on social media, you're very responsive as well, so it doesn't matter who reaches out to you, you do respond to them.
I try to, yeah.
And you post quite funny stuff as well. Yeah, so that's good.
Yeah, tongue-in-cheek stuff.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah. So what does the next 5 years look like for Mr. Sport?
I'd like to really put, you know, nutrition, certainly in the UK in terms of MMA, on the map. I think the reason I wish I could say that I'm a magician and a wizard and that I'm, you know,
You're not.
I'm not. And that, you know, I'm this insanely intelligent human being that can tell you everything about nutrition. But the fact is, I'm not. I'm just a regular guy. But when you look at MMA, you know, the fighters in that sport have a real lack of sports science when you compare it to other sports. No,
I find this really interesting, especially people who do train a lot. I find it interesting that they don't always have the knowledge when it comes to nutrition.
Yeah.
Because they're part and parcel. You need both. You can't do one or the other.
Exactly.
But why is that? Why do you think that is?
I think, firstly, I think it's because it's not necessarily interesting, and I think that's what I'm trying to build on my platform.
Because if you're dedicated, because it takes a lot of effort and time to build up, say, become a bodybuilder or something, or to train to your highest potential. But if you're not fueling yourself with the right thing, then how can you possibly achieve that vision and aim for yourself physically wise?
Exactly. I mean, the thing with food though is the information that's been pushed out is almost incorrect half the time, which means you get people doing the wrong things. And like I said, I wish I could say that I'm this wizard, but the reason why this thing grew so much, I think, for me was because I went into a sport which has, in the last 20 years, only just been around.
Yeah.
And to be honest...
MMA,
yeah, mixed martial arts. And to be honest, people don't... the fighters don't know much about nutrition, which makes my job almost, you know, telling them the basic stuff is an education for them.
Because you work with some of the top MMA fighters in the UK at the moment.
Yeah. So going into that industry and cleaning that up is certainly my goal in the next 5 years. I've also just signed with a talent agency now who are hopefully going to build this brand up a bit more with me, and we're hoping to go from 50-seat seminars to 250-seat seminars, you know, much bigger venues, and hoping to turn this thing into an enjoyable education process. We want people to want to learn about nutrition. You know, the way you see, I don't know, you see people like Elliot Hulse, or you see the Hodge twins, or you know, the way they do it in the fitness world. It's certainly, that's something what we want to do. We want to make people subconsciously learn about nutrition, but in a way that they actually want to, you know, not just force it down their throats.
So you're adding the personality to the science of it, I suppose.
Exactly, yeah. I think in order to make someone learn something, it needs to be relatable. I'm not quite sure yet how the world domination, what the world domination plan is yet, but
still being formulated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's a work in progress.
But it sounds like quite exciting next 5 years. So you've got all this development happening. You've got your supplement brand coming out as well, and you're working with the macro feeds company as well. So all these exciting things in the pipeline. So this won't be the last that we hear of you. If anything, it's going to explode a bit more, and you'll be everywhere. Yeah.
Hopefully, yeah.
Yeah. So what does downtime look like? We've talked about all the business stuff, all the boring stuff. What does downtime look like for you? What do you like doing?
You know, I'm a young guy. I like going out. I like partying. I like chilling with my friends. I like watching movies. I like listening to music.
You like coffee?
I like coffee. I love coffee. Love coffee.
Yeah.
But yeah, ultimately, you know, I'm just a regular guy. I'll be honest. There isn't much downtime because it's not work for me. It's not like I'm doing. It doesn't feel like I'm doing 15-hour shifts, but most days I am. 12-hour shifts.
Because it doesn't stop, does it? You'll get an email, you just respond to it.
Yeah.
That's working, isn't it?
I understand that you can't be too obsessed. You can't trick yourself into believing that the passion you have for your job, for your niche or whatever, for your passion, is necessarily going to be healthy. Too much of anything is bad.
So you need to switch off.
You do.
Yeah.
You do. 100%. I mean, everyone's different, but I feel like for me, I had days, I used to do what's known as the 2-day split. So I would sleep every 2 days, so I would work.
Wow.
Yeah, so 7 days in a week I would sleep maybe 3 or 4 of them, and then work through the night. And honestly, what is first enjoyable becomes very, very dark.
Yeah. You just saying that just made me feel really tired.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I mean, it's tough, but there's times where you have to do that. There's times where you have to lose sleep.
Absolutely.
But then there's times where you need to find balance. Yeah. And I think too much of anything is bad. So yeah, in terms of downtime, coffee, partying,
movies,
sports,
food,
movies, food, cooking.
Sounds good.
All of the standard stuff, yeah.
Excellent. Have you had any massive challenges in your life that you've really had to overcome? And are they things that could have potentially stopped you from becoming who you are today?
I think that a pro and a con for me was that I faced difficulty early. Certainly, I experienced failure in almost everything early. And when you do fail things early in life, sometimes it can lead down two paths. Sometimes it can really put you off what you want to do, and it makes you feel insecure and insufficient, and it makes you feel like you can't do anything right. And then there's the other side, which makes you look at difficulty a little bit differently. So I think once I got to secondary school and I got to college and university and I started business, I just realised I've been failing my whole life. So for me, failure was just another thing.
Part of the journey.
Part of the journey, exactly. So a lot of people look at failure, difficulty as this negative thing. And I think...
But do you not think society has made us think that way?
Exactly. Yeah. We bred a society of negativity, of almost making ourselves think, something's too difficult, don't do it. And I think you know, when I was younger, I didn't really see it as such a positive thing. Certainly growing up, you think, oh, I'm not good at this, I'm not good at that, I'm not smart, I'm not, you know, particularly great at this sport or that, you know. But I think looking back, that's something that definitely shaped me, was those early years. I mean, I was actually kicked out of my I was expelled from my first primary school, which was Palm Bay.
Oh, wow.
Primary school in reception,
Year 5.
Reception, 5 years old, yeah.
Oh, reception?
Reception, 5 years old, yeah.
How could you get expelled?
Well, I got in, basically, it was on lunch. I got into one of the classrooms, and it was like a cooking class thing. And obviously I got hold of some of the ingredients and was just throwing it around everywhere. You know, 5 years old, as you would do as a young crazy kid. And
I've never heard of a 5-year-old getting expelled from school.
So they put me, I mean, I don't think the definition is expelled. I think they removed me. They told my mum to remove me from that school. But
I mean, that's expelling.
Yeah.
What would you say to people watching this who want to pursue a career in nutrition or coaching, or even become a social media influencer for great impact? What would you say to them if they were looking to, I guess, approach that journey?
I'd say learn your trade inside out. And I don't mean, you know, knowledge is ever growing and ever changing. Find the right sources of information you need.
Be really selective.
Be very selective, especially in the nutrition industry.
Yeah.
If you're getting into coaching, specifically coaching people, learn about people, become relatable, build relationships. Don't think about lining your pocket, thinking about helping people get the results that they deserve and that they want. You know, and that will get you the results.
It's true, because I mean, in the short term, you'll make money, but if you want lasting impact, you've got to be delivering quality.
Exactly. Yeah. But try and show a little bit of personality. I think you know. So, like I said, for nutrition and whatnot, in any trade, definitely get your sources of information in check. For coaching, try and build relationships and help people, not thinking about your wallet. And thirdly, for social media, be yourself, but show some personality. There's 20 Tom, Dick and Harrys out there all doing the same thing. What's going to separate you?
So thanks for joining us, thanks for your time. I hope that's inspired anyone who's looking to get into coaching or nutrition or social media influencing industry of any sort. Be sure to subscribe to my channel and to follow Yiannis, Mr.Sport on social media. We'll post his links online, and stay tuned for more content. Take care.
Cheers, guys.
Wow, man boobs look huge in here.
Go on.
I don't know, what man boobs? Like actually man boobs, but not pecs. Not pecs, mate. Man boobs. They look like man boobs. Oh well, it's fine.